So hey anime fans. The series name is What If Naruto Got Harem with Sly Cooper. So let's start the series. The air was thick with the smell of old copper and disused magic. Dust, undisturbed for centuries, danced in the thin beams of light slicing down from hidden vents. Sly Cooper moved through it like a whisper, his silhouette a fluid shadow against the complex, gear-filled chamber. A massive clockwork mechanism, dormant for ages, dominated the center of the room. All right, Bentley, I'm at the main chamber. It's quiet. Too quiet. Sly's voice was a low murmur into the comms, his cane held loosely, ready. That's because you haven't tripped the pressure plates yet. Bentley's voice crackled back, tinged with academic impatience. According to these schematics, the vault is a masterpiece of static defense. No motion sensors, no lasers. It reacts to weight and interference. Don't touch anything that isn't a direct path. From the comms, Murray's booming whisper interrupted. And don't forget the snacks for the getaway. I've got the engine running and a bag of Murray-sized pretzels. A faint, frustrated sigh from Sly was his only reply. He crept forward, his gaze fixed on a small pedestal at the far end of the room, where a single, fist-sized orb rested. It wasn't gold or jewel-encrusted. It was a matte, obsidian black, with faint, almost imperceptible veins of a deep, swirling red pulsing within. It didn't look like a typical Cooper ancestor treasure. It looked wrong. That's the target? A rock? Sly asked, crouching behind a massive, stationary gear. That's no rock, Sly. My readings are off the charts. It's emanating an energy I can't classify. It's not electrical, not magical in any traditional sense. It's like it's resonating with something fundamental. Bentley's voice was a mix of concern and fascination. Get the sample and let's get out of here. Sly took a breath, plotting his path. It was a simple grid of stone tiles, each one a potential trigger. Bentley had mapped the safe route. Left foot on 14B, right foot on 14C, then a long stride to 16A. He moved. Perfect, silent footwork. He was a phantom, a ghost in the machine. He reached the pedestal, a simple column of dark, polished stone. The orb sat there, pulsing gently, like a sleeping heartbeat. He reached out a hand, gloved fingers inches from its surface. The moment his skin made contact, the world didn't just change. It screamed. A violent, invisible force erupted from the orb. It wasn't an explosion of fire or light, but a psychic and physical shockwave that threw Sly back against the giant gear with a sickening thud. The air itself seemed to tear, a vertical rip of shimmering, distorted space appearing directly above the pedestal. It howled with a sound like wind through a canyon mixed with a billion angry whispers. Sly! Bentley's voice was a panicked shriek in the earpiece. What happened? My sensors are. The energy is spiking too. It's opening a dimensional rift. Sly groaned, struggling to his knees, clutching his ribs. He stared, mesmerized and horrified, as the rip in reality widened. And then, from within that chaotic, screaming void, a shape tumbled out. It wasn't a monster. It was a boy. He landed on the stone floor with a heavy, breathless thud, rolled once, and came up on his knees, gasping. He was dressed in a worn black and orange jumpsuit. His face, smudged with what looked like dirt and old exhaustion, was framed by spiky, sun-bleached blonde hair. His eyes, wide with shock, were the clearest, most startling blues Sly had ever seen. The boy's head whipped around, taking in the impossible chamber of gears and shadows. His gaze landed on Sly, and for a split second, there was pure, unadulterated confusion. Then, his expression hardened into something Sly recognized instantly, a fighter's focus. He pushed himself to his feet, fists clenched. Whoa, easy there, kid, Sly said, raising a hand, his other hand tightening on his cane. You took a pretty hard fall. The boy didn't answer. He just stared, his chest heaving. Where am I? His voice was rough, scratchy. What was that thing? 1 minute I'm talking with, and then there was this pull. He was interrupted by the sound of grinding stone. The safe path was no longer safe. The entire floor began to shift, tiles sinking and rising in a new, chaotic pattern. The dormant clockwork was waking up. Bentley! Tell me you're seeing this! Sly yelled, backing towards a wall. I'm seeing it! The artifact's energy surge has activated the vault's final security protocol. It's reconfiguring the entire chamber. You have to get out now! The boy stumbled as a tile lurched under his feet. He looked at Sly, his blue eyes searching. Are you a bad guy? He asked, the question disarmingly direct. Sly blinked, a small, genuine smirk touching his lips despite the situation. Depends on who you ask, kid. But right now, I'm the only guy in this room who knows how to get out. Can you run? The boy looked at the moving floor, at the massive gears beginning to turn, and then back at Sly. He gave a short, sharp nod. I can run. Good. Follow my lead. Don't step where I don't step. Sly didn't wait. He sprang into motion, a whirlwind of athletic grace, leaping from a sinking tile to a rising one. The boy followed. It wasn't graceful. It was raw and powerful. He stumbled, corrected, and used sheer leg strength to launch himself after Sly. He didn't have the technique, but he had the guts. They were halfway to a side passage when a giant gear swung down from the ceiling, blocking their path. Sly skidded to a halt. Bentley! New route! Working on it. The map is changing every 30 seconds. It's generating new pathways based on your position. The boy looked at the gear, then at the wall beside it. His brow furrowed in concentration. He reached deep inside himself, to that boiling well of power that was always there, always waiting. He pulled on it, not with anger, but with focused need. A shimmer of orange chakra flickered around his hand. Kid, what are you? With a guttural yell, the boy slammed his fist into the massive, cast-iron gear. The impact wasn't just physical. A wave of pure, invisible force rippled from his knuckles. With a deafening crack, the gear shuddered, a spiderweb of fractures appearing across its surface before it shattered into 100 heavy pieces. Sly stared, his jaw hanging open. The boy stood there, breathing hard, his fists smoking slightly. The path is clear now, the boy said, his voice quiet. For a split second, their eyes met. The master thief, who relied on wit and grace. And the boy, who had just punched a hole through solid, ancient metal with an unseen power. Sly's analytical mind, the part that had kept him alive for so long, clicked into overdrive. Who is this kid? What is he? And how do I use this? But before he could speak, the pounding of heavy, booted feet echoed from the passage ahead. Cooper! I know you're in here. The whole city just felt that energy spike. You're done. Carmelita. Sly grabbed the boy's arm. New plan. Run first, introductions later. They bolted into the darkness, just as Inspector Carmelita Fox, blaster drawn and fury in her eyes, entered the main chamber. She saw the shattered gear, the still humming orb on its pedestal, and the fading shimmer in the air where the rift had been. Her gaze narrowed. This was bigger than a simple heist. Something else was here. The safe house was a mess of old crates, Bentley's high-tech equipment, and Murray's empty pretzel bags. The van was parked inside the main bay, disguised under a tarp. Naruto sat on an old crate, his back against a cold concrete pillar. He told them his name. That was it. He was still trying to process. The pull, the scream, the fall. He'd been on the road back to Konoha, the memory of Nagato's sacrifice and his father's revelation a heavy, guiding weight in his heart. Then, nothing but chaos. Now he was in a world of giant metal birds that flew without flapping their wings, and buildings that scraped the sky. And he was sitting with 3 strangers. A raccoon who walked on 2 legs and moved like a ghost. A turtle in a wheelchair surrounded by glowing boxes. And a huge, purple hippo who kept staring at him with wide, curious eyes. Bentley was the first to break the silence, his voice a low, calculated hum. The energy signature you emitted when you dismantled that gear, it's unlike anything in my databases. It resonates with a frequency similar to the artifact, but it's organic. Part of you. It's chakra, Naruto said, his voice flat. He was too tired to lie. Too confused to come up with a story. Chakra, Bentley repeated, typing furiously. Fascinating. A life energy. Theoretically possible, but the output you displayed, it defies known physics. Murray, who had been edging closer, finally spoke. His voice was surprisingly soft for such a large creature. Hey kid. You okay? You look like you just saw a ghost. Or, fell out of a screaming hole in the sky. He offered a half-crushed bag of pretzels. Pretzel? Naruto looked at the pretzel, then at Murray's sincere, worried eyes. A tiny, reluctant smile touched his lips. He took one. Thanks. Sly, who had been leaning against the van, arms crossed, watching the scene, finally spoke. Okay kid. Let's cut to it. I'm Sly. The brains is Bentley, the muscle is Murray. You're in our world. You're not from here. That much is obvious. He gestured with his chin towards Naruto's fist. So, who are you, and what's your deal? Because that little light show back there just painted a giant target on all our backs. Carmelita is going to be all over this. Naruto chewed the pretzel slowly. It was salty. It was good. He looked at Sly. The raccoon's posture was relaxed, but his eyes were sharp, calculating. He was a lot like Sasuke, in a way. Always thinking 3 steps ahead. But there was a looseness to him, a charm that Sasuke lacked. He thought of Kakashi-sensei. The best way to deal with a strategic mind was, sometimes, with blunt honesty. My name is Naruto Uzumaki. I'm a ninja from a village called Konoha. In another world, I guess. He paused, the weight of it settling on him. I don't know how I got here, or how to get back. A ninja, Sly said, the word tasting foreign. So that's the trick. Illusions, stealth, and punching holes in metal. That was just a little bit of my power, Naruto said, a flicker of his old pride surfacing. My real strength is different. Bentley's eyes lit up behind his glasses. Different how? Can you reproduce the effect? I'd love to run some non-invasive scans. Bentley. Sly cut him off gently. Let the guy breathe. He pushed off the van and walked over, sitting on a crate opposite Naruto. He leaned forward, his expression open, but his eyes still searching. Look, you seem like a decent kid. But you're a wild card. A very powerful, very confused wild card. And I'm in the middle of a job. I'm not here to mess up your job, Naruto said, a hint of defensiveness in his voice. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. I know. And maybe we can help each other. Sly's gaze was intense. That artifact you saw, the one that pulled you here? I need it. The Cooper clan has been searching for it for generations. But after your arrival, the vault went into full lockdown. It's impenetrable now, even for me. The only way back in is with something that resonates with the artifact. Something with chakra. The implication hung in the air. Naruto's eyes widened slightly. You want to use me to get your treasure? I want to use your abilities to get our treasure, Sly corrected smoothly. And in the process, we're in the perfect position to study the thing that brought you here. Maybe we can figure out how to send you back. It's a win-win. Naruto stared at him. His first instinct was to refuse. This guy was a thief. He admitted it. His whole life, he'd been taught to distrust people like this. But then he remembered the look on Sly's face in the vault. It wasn't just greed. It was connection. Like the treasure meant something more. Just like how becoming Hokage meant something more. He thought of Kurama, silent and watchful within him. The fox's presence was a low, constant rumble of power and ancient cynicism. He could feel the Ninetales' distrust of these strangers, this whole situation. Thieves and tricksters, boy. You'd be a fool to trust them. But Naruto had learned that you couldn't judge a book by its cover. He'd been judged that way his whole life. And Sly, for all his slickness, hadn't abandoned him in that vault. He'd told him to run with him. Naruto met Sly's gaze. I'm not a tool you can just use. Sly held up his hands. Didn't say you were. I'm proposing a partnership. An alliance. From his wheelchair, Bentley muttered. An alliance with an unknown variable from an alternate dimension. Statistically, the odds of this ending well are, well, let's just say I'm updating my will. Murray, however, lumbered over and put a massive, gentle hand on Naruto's shoulder. I like him. He's got good vibes. And he ate my pretzel. That's a friendship bond, Sly. You can't break the pretzel bond. Naruto looked up at Murray's earnest, simple face. A genuine laugh, the first one since he'd arrived, escaped him. It was a warm, bright sound in the cold, dusty warehouse. Sly watched, a small smile playing on his own lips. The kid was an unknown, a massive risk. But he had heart. Sly could always spot heart. And in his line of work, that was rarer and more valuable than any treasure. So, Naruto, Sly said, extending a hand. Partners? Naruto looked at the offered hand, then at Murray, then at a highly skeptical Bentley. He reached out and shook it. His grip was firm, honest. Partners. From the shadows of a high, broken window across the street, a pair of binoculars glinted in the moonlight. Carmelita watched the scene through a high-powered scope, a small parabolic microphone feeding the conversation to her earpiece. Partners, she heard the strange boy say. She lowered the binoculars, a grim satisfaction settling on her features. A new player. A superpowered kid from God knows where, working with the Cooper gang. This wasn't just a heist anymore. It was a potential catastrophe. And it was her job to stop it before it even started. She tapped her comms. This is Inspector Fox. I need a full background check on any person of interest entering the city in the last 48 hours. Unaccompanied minors, no ID, possible foreign national. And I need it yesterday. She looked back at the warehouse. The boy with the bright eyes and the devastating power. He was the key. And she was going to find out what locks he opened. Fade out. Next, but in human written, not AI. Chapter 2, The Weight of Trust. Fade in. Int. Abandoned warehouse morning. Naruto woke up on a pile of old blankets and smelled coffee for the first time in his life. It was bitter and sharp and weirdly pleasant. Bentley had some kind of machine set up on a crate, little bubbles rising through a glass chamber. The turtle sat hunched over his laptops, 3 screens running different things Naruto couldn't begin to understand. His fingers moved fast across the keys, tap tap tap, and occasionally he'd stop to push his glasses up his nose. Murray was asleep in the van, snoring loud enough to make the windows vibrate. Sly was already awake too, sitting cross-legged on a high stack of pallets, cleaning his cane with a small cloth. He moved slow, methodical, like the cane meant something to him. Like it wasn't just a weapon. Naruto sat up and his back cracked in 3 places. The concrete was not kind. "Morning, kid," Sly said without looking up. "Sleep okay?" "Been better." Naruto rubbed his neck. "Been worse too." Bentley glanced over, then back at his screens. "I ran analysis on the residual energy patterns from last night. The rift didn't just dump you here and close. It's still present. Faintly. Like a scar in the local dimensional fabric." Naruto blinked. "I don't know what half those words mean." "It means the door isn't completely shut." Bentley turned now, pushing his glasses up. "If we can access the artifact again, I might be able to amplify its signal, reverse the polarity of the spatial displacement, and—" "Bentley. English." Sly hopped down from the pallets, landing silent as a cat. Bentley sighed. "We use the orb to open another hole and push him back through. Maybe." Naruto stood up slow. "Maybe?" "Nothing like this has ever been documented. The variables are—" Bentley trailed off, gesturing vaguely at everything. Murray's snoring hit a new high note, then stopped with a snort. The van door creaked open and the hippo tumbled out, still half asleep, landing on his face with a soft oof. He lay there for a second, then pushed himself up like nothing happened. "Morning, team! Is it morning? What's for breakfast? Naruto! You're still here!" Murray grinned wide. "I thought maybe I dreamed you." "Nope. Still here." Naruto couldn't help the small smile. Murray was like a bigger, purple version of Choji. Sly walked over to the coffee machine and poured himself a cup. He held up the pot. "You want some?" Naruto hesitated. "What is it exactly?" "Coffee. It's a drink. Keeps you awake." "I'm already awake." "It's complicated. You want some or not?" Naruto shrugged. "Sure." Sly poured him a cup and handed it over. Naruto took a sip and immediately regretted everything. His face scrunched up so hard his eyes almost closed. "That's terrible." "Yeah." Sly grinned. "But you get used to it." Naruto took another sip anyway, smaller this time. It was still terrible. But there was something about it that made him want another sip later. Bentley cleared his throat. "While we're on the topic of terrible, we have a problem. Carmelita didn't just show up randomly last night. She was tracking Sly. Which means she knows about the vault. And now she knows about—" He gestured at Naruto. "She doesn't know anything," Sly said. "She saw a shattered gear and a weird energy spike. That's it. She saw the rift close. She's not stupid, Sly. She's going to be digging. And if she finds out about Naruto before we figure out how to use him—" "Not using," Naruto interrupted. His voice was quiet but firm. "Partners. You said partners?" A brief silence. Bentley adjusted his glasses. "Semantics aside, the point stands. She's a variable we can't control." Naruto thought about that. In Konoha, there were always variables you couldn't control. Enemy ninja. Hidden motives. The village council. You worked around them, or you worked through them. You didn't just stop because things got complicated. "So we don't let her find out," he said. Sly looked at him with something like approval. "Exactly. We stay quiet, we stay smart, and we hit the vault again before she figures out what we're planning." "When do we hit it?" Murray asked, suddenly alert. "Is there fighting?" "I'm ready for fighting. I've been practicing my thunder flop." "Murray, we talked about this. No thunder flop in enclosed spaces. You almost brought down a museum last time." "That was 1 time. It was 3 times. Naruto watched them bicker, and for a moment it felt almost normal. Like being back with Team 7, listening to Kakashi and Sasuke trade quiet insults while Sakura tried to keep the peace. Different faces, different world, but the same kind of messy, comfortable rhythm. Then Kurama's voice rumbled in the back of his mind. "Don't get too comfortable, boy. These aren't your friends. They're thieves playing at family. The moment you stop being useful—" Naruto pushed the thought away. He knew what distrust felt like. He'd lived it for 12 years. He wasn't going to carry that weight into another world. EXT. Docks later that afternoon. Bentley needed supplies. Something about circuit boards and replacement parts for the rift stabilizer he was building. Sly said it was too risky to go out in daylight, but Bentley insisted, and Murray volunteered because Murray always volunteered. Which is how Naruto ended up walking through a crowded outdoor market with a 7-foot purple hippo wearing a ridiculously small hat. The hat is for disguise, Murray explained seriously. No one expects a master criminal to wear a tiny hat. Naruto looked at the hat. It was a child's sun hat, bright yellow, with little flowers around the brim. It sat on Murray's head like a grape on a mountain. I don't think that's how disguise works. Trust me. I'm an expert. A woman walked past them, did a double take at Murray, then kept walking. Naruto was pretty sure he heard her stifle a laugh. They found the electronics stall easily enough. Murray handled the transaction while Naruto stood guard, which mostly meant standing there and trying not to look like he was standing guard. The stall owner, an older badger with thick glasses, kept glancing at Murray's hat but didn't say anything. That's when Naruto felt it. A gaze. Heavy. Focused. He'd been tracked by enemy ninja enough times to recognize the weight of someone watching. His hand twitched toward the kunai pouch at his leg, empty, because he'd used his last one in the vault and hadn't replaced it yet. He scanned the crowd slowly, casual. Families. Couples. A group of kids chasing each other with sticks. An old woman feeding pigeons. And there, half hidden behind a fruit stand, a flash of orange fur. A police uniform. Carmelita. She wasn't looking at Murray. She was looking at him. Naruto's heart kicked up a notch. He turned away slow, tapped Murray's arm. We've got company. Murray didn't look up from counting out money. What kind of company? The bad kind or the really bad kind? Fox. Police. The one from last night. Murray's hand paused on a coin. For a second, the goofy energy drained out of him, replaced by something sharper. How close? Fruit stand. Watching me specifically. Okay. Murray finished the transaction, pocketed the bag of electronics, and put a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Okay. Here's what we do. We walk normal back toward the warehouse. We don't run. We don't look back. If she follows, we lose her in the alley near the fish market. Got it? Naruto nodded. Got it. They walked. The crowd felt different now. Every face was a potential threat. Every shadow could hide a trap. Naruto's training kicked in automatically, varying his pace, checking reflections in windows, listening for footsteps that matched their own. Murray was surprisingly light on his feet for someone his size. He moved through the crowd with a kind of rolling grace, the tiny hat bobbing above everyone's heads like a beacon. You know, Naruto muttered, the hat might be making us more visible. The hat stays. They reached the edge of the market. The alley Murray mentioned was just ahead, narrow and dark, stinking of old fish and seawater. Okay, Murray breathed. On 3, we duck in and run. 1. Naruto tensed. 2. Freeze! Police! Carmelita stepped out from behind a stack of crates, blaster raised, her amber eyes locked onto Naruto. She moved fast, professional, cutting off their path to the alley. Hands where I can see them. Both of you. Murray's hand tightened on Naruto's shoulder. Don't run yet. Let me talk. Murray, right? Carmelita's voice was cold. I know you. You're the driver. The muscle. Which means the brains and the ghost are nearby. Her eyes shifted to Naruto. And you. The mystery guest. No ID, no records, no nothing. You just appear out of thin air during a Cooper heist. That's either very stupid or very calculated. Naruto kept his hands visible. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't play dumb. I saw you in the vault last night. Well, I saw you run. Same orange and black. Same blonde hair. You're with them now. She took a step closer. So here's how this goes. You tell me where Cooper is, and I forget I saw you. You're just a kid. I don't want to hurt you. Naruto looked at her. Really looked. She was tense, angry, but there was something else underneath. Worry. Not fear, she didn't look scared of anything, but genuine concern. Like she actually believed she was protecting people by hunting Sly. It reminded him of Sakura, actually. The way she'd get when Sasuke did something reckless. That mix of frustration and caring that made her push harder. I can't tell you where he is, Naruto said quietly. Can't or won't? Both. Carmelita's jaw tightened. Kid, you're in over your head. These aren't good people. They're thieves. Criminals. They'll use you up and leave you behind. Murray stepped forward slightly, positioning himself between Carmelita and Naruto. That's not true. Slice. Slice, a master manipulator who's been running from the law since he was a kid. He doesn't have friends. He has assets. Carmelita's voice cracked just slightly on the last word. Just enough for Naruto to notice. She knows him, he realized. Really knows him. There's history there. And suddenly the dynamic made more sense. The way Sly had talked about her. The way she'd showed up at the vault so fast. This wasn't just cop and robber. This was personal. I'm not telling you where he is, Naruto repeated. But I'm also not. He struggled for the right words. I'm not being used. It's not like that. Carmelita stared at him for a long moment. Then she holstered her blaster. Fine. I'm not arresting you today. You're a minor, you haven't committed any crimes I can prove, and frankly I've got bigger problems. She pulled a card from her pocket and held it out. But when they screw you over, and they will, you call that number. I'll help you. No questions asked? Naruto took the card. It had her name and a phone number. Nothing else. Murray tugged his sleeve. We should go. Naruto nodded. He looked at Carmelita one more time. For what it's worth. I don't think they're as bad as you think. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's what everyone says. Right before they get hurt. They left her standing there at the mouth of the alley, watching them go. Naruto didn't look back, but he felt her gaze on him the whole way. Int. Warehouse evening. Sly was not happy. You let her get close enough to talk to you? In broad daylight? With Murray wearing that? He pointed at the hat, which Murray had placed proudly on a hook. That thing? It's a disguise, Murray protested. It's a liability. She saw me at the market, Naruto said quietly. Not Murray. Me. She was watching for me specifically. That stopped Sly cold. What? Bentley wheeled over, adjusting his glasses. That's not good. If she's identified Naruto as a person of interest, she'll be watching all of us more closely. It compromises the entire operation. She gave me her card. Naruto pulled it out, held it up. Said to call when you guys screw me over? Sly's expression flickered. Something passed through his eyes, pain maybe, or regret, gone before Naruto could read it. Carmelita's always been good at reading people, he said quietly. And terrible at trusting them. You know her, Naruto said. It wasn't a question. A long pause. Bentley and Murray exchanged a look. We have history, Sly admitted. Complicated history. She's not wrong about everything. About some things. He shook his head, shaking off whatever memory had surfaced. But that doesn't matter right now. What matters is the vault. Bentley, how close are we? The stabilizer is 70% complete. Another day, maybe two, and we'll be ready to attempt re-entry. Bentley glanced at Naruto. Assuming our guest is willing to participate. Naruto thought about it. About the rift, the artifact, the chance to go home. About Sasuke, and Kakashi, and Sakura, and everything he'd left behind. About the weight of Pain's attack still fresh in his memory, and the responsibility he felt to help rebuild. But he also thought about Murray's goofy smile and Bentley's nervous energy, and the way Sly's eyes had softened when he talked about Carmelita. About how strange it was to feel almost at home with people he'd known for less than a day. I'm in, he said. But I want something in return. Sly raised an eyebrow. Name it. When we're done, if we can't get me home right away, you teach me. Teach you what? How to move like you. How to be quiet. How to, I don't know, read people the way you do. Naruto's voice was earnest, almost desperate. Back home, I'm loud. I'm direct. I charge in and figure things out later. And sometimes that works. But sometimes. He trailed off, thinking of Jiraiya. Thinking of Nagato. Thinking of all the things he could have done differently if he'd been smarter. Quieter. More patient. Sly studied him for a long moment. You want me to teach you to be a thief? No. I want you to teach me to be smarter. Another pause. Then Sly smiled, not the slick, charming smile he used on marks, but something smaller. More real. Okay, kid. You've got a deal. Murray whooped and grabbed Naruto in a hug that lifted him clean off the ground. This is great. We're gonna be a real team. With matching outfits and everything. No matching outfits, Bentley said immediately. Yes, matching outfits. Murray spun Naruto around. I'm thinking purple. Purple is my color. Your color is whatever color that hat is, Sly muttered. Naruto laughed, genuinely laughed, and for a moment the weight of everything felt just a little lighter. Int. Carmelita's apartment night. She sat at her kitchen table, staring at a wall covered in photos. Crime scene photos. Surveillance photos. Photos of Sly Cooper at various ages, various heists, various near misses. And now a new photo. A grainy still from the vault's exterior cameras, showing a blonde boy in orange and black, mid-fall, tumbling out of thin air. She'd zoomed in on his face. Those blue eyes. That expression of pure confusion mixed with determination. Who are you? She thought about their conversation. The way he'd stood his ground. The way he'd defended Sly. The way he'd looked at her with those eyes that seemed way too old for his face. I'm not being used. It's not like that. She hoped he was right. She really did. But she'd seen this story before. Bright-eyed kid falls in with the Cooper gang, gets caught up in the romance of it all, ends up hurt or arrested or worse. She picked up her phone, stared at it for a moment, then put it down. Tomorrow. She'd start digging tomorrow. Find out where the kid came from, what he was doing here, why the energy readings at the vault had gone haywire right when he appeared. Tomorrow, she'd get answers. Tonight, she'd sit here with her photos and her coffee and the hollow feeling that never quite went away. Fade out. End Chapter 2. This response is AI generated, for reference only. Next, but in human written, not AI. Chapter 3, The Plan Unfolds. Fade in. Int. Warehouse 2 days later. Bentley hadn't slept. Naruto could tell because the turtle was still wearing the same clothes from yesterday, and there were 3 empty coffee cups lined up next to his laptop like little brown soldiers. His eyes were red behind his glasses, but they were also bright with that particular kind of focus Naruto recognized from Kakashi when he was reading his pervy books. Different kind of focus. Same intensity. Okay, Bentley said, not looking up from the screen. Okay. I've got it. I think. Mostly. Sly materialized from somewhere in the shadows. Naruto still hadn't figured out how he did that, and leaned over Bentley's shoulder. Mostly? The dimensional rift left a trace. Think of it like a scar. Or a door that was slammed shut but the frame is still bent. The artifact's energy signature matches Naruto's chakra frequency at about 63%. That's close enough that if we can get him near it again, the resonance should trigger a reaction. What kind of reaction? Naruto asked. Bentley hesitated. Honestly? I don't know. Could reopen the rift. Could create a stable portal. Could blow up half the city. The math it's complicated. Murray, who was practicing what looked like yoga in the corner, paused mid-stretch. Blow up half the city? That's on the table? It's a worst-case scenario. How worst case? Like oops we lost a building worst case or oops we lost the whole block worst case? Murray. Sly's voice was calm but firm. Let him finish. Bentley pushed his glasses up. The key is control. If Naruto can regulate his chakra output while in proximity to the artifact, we might be able to guide the reaction rather than just trigger it. But that requires him to be able to consciously manipulate his energy in a way we can measure. Naruto thought about that. Controlling chakra was basic ninja stuff. Walking on water, climbing trees, focusing energy into a single point. But this wasn't his world. The rules felt different here. Thinner somehow. Like reality was stretched tighter. I can try, he said. Try isn't a plan, Bentley muttered. Try is all I've got. Sly smiled at that, a small, approving smile. All right. So what's the approach? Vault's locked up tight. Security's probably doubled since Carmelita showed up. We can't just walk in. We don't walk. Bentley pulled up a blueprint on his main screen. We tunnel. The image showed the vault from below, a complex network of old sewer lines and maintenance tunnels that ran beneath the entire district. One line, marked in red, passed within 20 feet of the vault's foundation. These sewers have been abandoned for decades. The city built new ones further east. No maintenance, no cameras, no nothing. We dig up, break through the foundation. With what? Naruto asked. That floor was thick. Really thick. Bentley looked at him. With you. Silence. Murray broke it. Wait. Naruto's gonna dig? With his hands? That's gonna take forever. No. Bentley zoomed in on the blueprint. Naruto's going to use whatever that energy blast was that shattered the gear. A focused, controlled application of force directly upward should create a breach large enough for us to enter. Then Slide disables the internal security while Murray and I handle extraction and monitoring. Naruto stared at the screen. The gear he'd hit had been big, but it had also been old. Weakened by time. The vault floor was designed to last centuries. I don't know if I can do that, he admitted. The gear was... I just reacted. I wasn't thinking. Focus stuff is harder. Then we practice. Slide pushed off from the wall. You wanted me to teach you, right? Well, first lesson, know your tools. Bentley, you got something we can use as a target? Bentley thought for a moment, then pointed toward the back of the warehouse. There's a steel support beam in the storage area. About 8 inches thick. Should be a decent analog for the vault foundation. Naruto looked at the beam. It was massive. Solid. The kind of thing that held up buildings. 8 inches? He said weakly. Consider it a warm-up. Int. Warehouse storage area later. The beam stood in the middle of the floor, surrounded by junk and old crates. Naruto stood in front of it, trying to remember every lesson about chakra control he'd ever learned. Tree climbing. Water walking. Rasengan. The Rasengan had taken him weeks. Months. Pure chakra rotation, compression, control. This was different. This was raw power directed at a single point. You're overthinking it, boy. Kurama's voice rumbled through his mind, unexpected. Naruto tensed. Didn't think I'd just sit quiet forever, did you? I'd been watching. These creatures, this world, it's strange. But the principle is the same. You want to break something, you don't think about breaking it. You think about the space behind it. The place it will be after it's broken. Naruto blinked. That was, actually helpful. Don't get used to it. I just don't want to be stuck here because you can't manage a simple task. The fox's presence faded, but the advice lingered. Naruto closed his eyes. Breathed in. Felt the chakra in his core, warm and restless. He thought about the space behind the beam. About the wall that would be there after the steel was gone. About pushing through, not just at. He opened his eyes. His hand came up, palm forward. Chakra gathered there, visible as a faint orange glow. He didn't shout. Didn't psych himself up. Just pushed. The blast wasn't as dramatic as the one in the vault. Smaller. Tighter. A focused sphere of force that left his palm and hit the beam dead center. Crack. The beam didn't shatter. But a dent appeared, deep and clean, as if something had punched straight through and kept going. On the other side, the wall behind it had a matching dent, the concrete spiderwebbed with fractures. Naruto stared at his hand. Then at the beam. Then back at his hand. Holy! Murray breathed from somewhere behind him. Sly stepped forward, running his fingers over the dent. It was at least 3 inches deep. Clean edges. Precise. Kid, he said quietly. That was incredible. Naruto shook his head. It's not enough. The floor is thicker than this. And I'm tired already. Then we rest and try again. Sly clapped him on the shoulder. You've got 2 days. 2 days to get this right. And in between, I teach you how to move. Naruto looked up at him. You're really going to do it? Teach me? I gave you my word. Sly's expression was serious. Coopers keep their word. Always. Something in the way he said it made Naruto think there was a story there. A painful one. But he didn't push. EXT, Docks Night. The rooftops of the dock district were a maze of corrugated metal and rusty ladders. Sly moved across them like he'd been born there, effortless, silent. Naruto followed. Less silent. Less effortless. His foot slipped on a patch of moss, and he caught himself on a chimney, heart pounding. Sly was already 20 feet ahead, waiting. You're thinking too much about your feet. Sly called back quietly. Feet are important, but they're not the whole picture. Your weight's all over the place. You're tensing up. I'm trying not to fall. Falling's not the enemy. Landing badly is. Sly hopped down to a lower roof, motioning for Naruto to follow. Drop your shoulders. Bend your knees more. And breathe. You're holding your breath. Naruto dropped. Landed harder than Sly, but stayed upright. Better. Again. They ran the same stretch 4 more times. By the 5th, Naruto's legs were burning and he'd stopped slipping as much. Not good, but less bad. Sly sat down on the edge of a roof, dangling his legs over the side. Naruto joined him, looking out at the city. The lights were strange here, electric, not flame. But the pattern was the same. Clusters of brightness where people gathered. Dark patches where they didn't. "You've got good instincts," Sly said. "Raw but good. How old are you?" 16. I think. Time's weird back home." 16. Sly shook his head. "I was 16 when I formed the gang. Just me, Bentley, and Murray against the world. We'd lost everything, our families, our homes, our past. All we had was each other and a name." "What happened to your family?" Sly was quiet for a long moment. Long enough that Naruto thought he wasn't going to answer. "Clockwork happened." His voice was flat. "A bird made of metal and hate. He'd hunted the Coopers for generations. Killed my parents when I was 8. Left me with nothing but a cane and a thirst for revenge." Naruto felt something twist in his chest. He knew that kind of loss. Knew the shape of it, the weight. "I lost my parents too," he said quietly. "I never even knew them. There was a war, and a monster, and they died so I could live." Sly looked at him. Really looked. "That's a heavy weight for a kid to carry." "We're both carrying it, I guess." They sat in silence for a while. The city hummed below them, indifferent to their conversation. Finally, Sly spoke again. "The thing about revenge. I got mine. Took down Clockwork, scattered his parts to the wind. Thought it would fix things. Make me whole." He laughed, but it was hollow. "It didn't. Just left me emptier. Now I chase treasures because it's what I know. What I'm good at. But the hole's still there." Naruto thought about Sasuke. About the darkness he could see in his teammates' eyes, the hunger for revenge against Itachi. He'd always thought that if Sasuke got his revenge, he'd be okay. Come back to them. Now he wasn't so sure. "What do you do?" he asked. "With the hole, I mean. How do you keep going?" Sly shrugged. "You find people to fill it. Murray with his endless optimism. Bentley with his plans and his worrying. Even Carmelita sometimes, when she's not trying to arrest me." A small smile. "You let them in, even when it hurts. Especially when it hurts." Naruto nodded slowly. That sounded familiar. That sounded like Iruka-sensei, and Team 7, and Old Man Tucci at the ramen stand. People who'd filled his own holes without even knowing it. "Thanks," he said. "For the lesson. And for this." "Don't mention it." Sly stood, offering a hand. "Now come on. We've got 3 more rooftops before we hit the warehouse. And you're still landing like a sack of potatoes." Naruto grabbed his hand and pulled himself up. "I am not." "You absolutely are. Let's go, Potato Boy." Int. Warehouse next day. The second attempt on the beam was better. Naruto hit it with more control, less effort, and the dent went deeper. 4 inches this time. Cleaner edges. Less fatigue afterward. Bentley recorded everything, muttering about energy signatures and resonance patterns. Murray cheered after each attempt. Sly watched with quiet approval. By evening, Naruto was exhausted but satisfied. He'd made real progress. The vault floor was still a challenge, but it didn't feel impossible anymore. That's when Bentley's alarm went off. Red lights flashed on his main screen. A siren, quiet but urgent, pulsed through the warehouse. "Someone's approaching," Bentley said, fingers flying across the keyboard. "Multiple heat signatures. Moving fast. They're surrounding the building." Sly was on his feet instantly, cane in hand. "Police?" "Doesn't look like it. These signatures are. I don't know how to describe it. They're not normal. Low body heat. Erratic movement patterns." Naruto felt Kurama stir. A low growl of warning. "Trouble, boy. Bad trouble." The warehouse doors exploded inward. Not with a bang, with a crunch, like something had bitten through them. Metal twisted, tore, fell in jagged pieces. And through the gap stepped figures that made no sense. They were human-shaped. Mostly. But their skin was wrong, pale gray, almost metallic, with seams running along their joints like they'd been assembled. Their eyes glowed a faint, pulsing red. And they moved with a jerky, unnatural precision, heads swiveling to take in the room. "What the?" Murray started. One of them spoke. Its voice was flat, mechanical, like words being played through a broken speaker. "Anomaly detected. Energy signature matches target profile. Locate and secure." Its red eyes fixed on Naruto. "Target identified. Acquisition protocol initiated." It moved. Fast. Faster than anything that size should move. It crossed half the warehouse in a heartbeat, hand reaching for Naruto's throat. Naruto reacted on instinct. Dropped, spun, came up with a kunai in his hand, borrowed from Slice's stash, slashing at the thing's arm. The kunai sparked against metal. Didn't cut. Didn't even leave a mark. "They're robots!" Bentley shouted. "Some kind of autonomous mechanized units." Sly was already moving, his cane connecting with another one's head. The impact sent it staggering, but it recovered instantly, turning toward him with those glowing red eyes. "Bentley! What are they? Who sent them?" "I don't know. They're not in any database. Murray grabbed a third robot and tried to thunderflop it. The move worked, sort of, flattening the robot against the concrete. But its arms kept moving, kept reaching, even as its torso crumpled. "These things don't stop," Murray yelled. Naruto ducked another grab, his mind racing. Robots. Metal bodies. Red eyes. They'd said. Target profile. Said. Acquisition. They were here for him. "Let me out." Kurama's voice was urgent. Demanding. "Boy. Let me out." "No," Naruto gasped, dodging again. "Too dangerous. Can't control it." "You'll die. They'll take you in." "I said no." He focused. Breathed. Remembered the beam. Remembered the space behind it. The robot lunged. Naruto met it halfway. His palm connected with its chest. Chakra released, not wild, not desperate, but focused. Directed. A single point of force aimed at the space behind the robot's metal shell. The robot exploded. Not dramatically, just came apart. Pieces scattered across the warehouse floor, sparks flying, red eyes flickering and dying. Silence. The remaining robots paused, processing. Then, as one, they turned and fled. Smashed through the walls they'd entered through and disappeared into the night. Naruto stood there, breathing hard, hands still extended. The others stared at him. "That was..." Bentley started. "Amazing," Murray finished. "You blew it up. With your hand." Sly walked over to the scattered pieces, nudging one with his cane. "Bentley, tell me you got readings." "I got readings. And..." Bentley's voice went strange. Worried. "And I think I know where they came from." "Where?" Bentley pulled up a file on his screen. A logo appeared. Corporate. Sleek. Innocent looking. "Interpol's been tracking a shadow corporation for years. Shell companies, front operations, deniable assets. They call themselves the Index. And according to everything I'm seeing..." He zoomed in on a small marking on one of the robot's arms. "These are theirs." Slice's face went pale. "The Index? They're a myth. A story they tell new agents to scare them." "They're real." Bentley pointed at the screen. "And somehow, they know about Naruto. About his energy signature. About everything." Naruto looked at the scattered pieces. At the hole in the wall. At his friends, his new friends, standing around him with worry in their eyes. "What do they want with me?" he asked quietly. No one had an answer. But somewhere across the city, in a building with no windows and no name, a screen flickered to life. A figure watched the footage from the warehouse. Watched Naruto destroy their asset with a single touch. "Fascinating," the figure murmured. "The anomaly has defensive capabilities. Update the acquisition protocols. We'll need a stronger approach." The screen went dark. And somewhere in the silence, Naruto Uzumaki realized that getting home was going to be a lot harder than he thought. Fade out. End Chapter 3. Next but in human written. Chapter 4 The Index. Fade in. Int. Warehouse night. Nobody slept. Bentley had been at the computers for hours, pulling up everything he could find on the Index, which turned out to be almost nothing. Shell companies. Dead ends. Paper trails that led to more paper trails. Every time he thought he'd found something solid, it dissolved. Murray paced. Back and forth, his heavy footsteps wearing a path in the concrete dust. He'd stopped talking an hour ago, which might have been the scariest thing of all. Murray not talking was like the sun not rising. Sly sat on a crate near the hole in the wall, staring out at the night. His cane rested across his knees. He hadn't moved in a while. Naruto sat with his back against the van, knees pulled up, arms wrapped around them. He felt hollow. Empty. The robots had been here for him. Not Sly, not the gang. Him. And he didn't know why. Because you're not supposed to be here. Kurama's voice was quieter than usual. Thoughtful. This world has its own rules. Its own powers. You're a variable they didn't account for. Variables get eliminated. Or controlled. You're not helping, Naruto muttered under his breath. Talking to yourself? Sly asked without turning around. First sign of madness. Talking to the nine-tailed fox trapped inside my body. Probably also a sign of madness. Sly looked back at him, one eyebrow raised. Nine-tailed fox? Long story. We've got time. Naruto hesitated. He never explained Kurama to anyone outside Konoha. It was private. Painful. But Sly had shared his own pain on the rooftop. Tit for tat, maybe? Or maybe Naruto was just tired of carrying it alone. When I was born, a monster was sealed inside me. A fox. 9 tails, infinite rage, more power than anything alive. He spoke quietly, not looking at anyone. It killed a lot of people. Destroyed my village. My parents died stopping it. And then they put it in me. Silence. Murray stopped pacing. Bentley's fingers paused over the keyboard. Sly turned fully, his expression unreadable. So for my whole life, people hated me. Feared me. Saw me as the monster instead of the kid who got stuck with it. And the fox. Kurama, he hated me too. Tried to take over whenever I was weak. Tried to corrupt me. Naruto's voice cracked slightly. It's better now. We're figuring it out. But it's not easy. Carrying that much hate, that much power. Some days I don't know if I'm me or him or something in between. A long moment passed. Then Murray was there. Big purple arms wrapping around Naruto, lifting him off the ground, squeezing tight. Not playful this time. Gentle. Careful. You're not a monster, Murray said, his voice thick. Monsters don't worry about being monsters. Monsters just are. You're a kid who got dealt a bad hand and keeps playing anyway. That's not monster. That's hero. Naruto couldn't breathe. Not from the hug, from the words. From the simple, absolute certainty in Murray's voice. I don't know about hero. He managed. I know. Murray set him down, patted his head. That's why you are one. Bentley cleared his throat. That's remarkably insightful, Murray. I have depths. You really do. Sly walked over, leaned against the van next to Naruto. So the energy we've been seeing. The chakra. It's not just yours. Some of it is. Some of it's his. We're connected. Learning to work together. It's complicated. Complicated, I understand. Sly looked at the hole in the wall. So these index people, they detected that energy. Tracked it. Sent killbots to collect you. Question is why. Maybe they want to study me. Figure out where I came from. Maybe. Sly's eyes narrowed. Or maybe they want to use you. Weaponize that power. A kid who can punch through solid steel and blow up robots with his bare hands? That's not just interesting. That's valuable. Naruto felt cold. He'd been used before. By Orochimaru. By pain. By people who saw him as a tool instead of a person. We can't let that happen. No. We can't. Sly straightened. Bentley. New plan. The vault can wait. Right now we need to figure out who these people are and how to make them stop being a problem. Bentley nodded, pushing his glasses up. Agreed. But we need more information. The index is a ghost. We need someone who knows about ghosts. Who? Interpol. Specifically, the task force that's been tracking them for the last 3 years. Bentley's voice got quieter. Specifically, Inspector Carmelita Fox. More silence. Murray looked at Sly. Naruto looked at Sly. Even Bentley looked at Sly, though he was trying to hide it behind his screens. Sly's jaw tightened. No. Sly. I said no. There has to be another way. There isn't. She's the only one who's been close to them. The only one with files we can't access. If we want to know what we're dealing with, we need her. Sly turned away. Walked to the hole in the wall. Stared out at nothing. Naruto watched him. Saw the tension in his shoulders, the way his hand gripped his cane too tight. You really don't want to see her, he said quietly. It's not that I don't want to. Sly's voice was rough. It's that every time we're in the same room, things get complicated. She tries to arrest me. I try to escape. We end up yelling at each other about things that happened years ago and none of it matters and all of it does. You love her. Sly flinched. Didn't answer. That's not a bad thing, you know. Naruto stood, walked over to stand beside him. Loving someone. Even if it's messy. Even if it hurts. You're 16. What do you know about love? I know what it feels like to lose people. To wish I'd said things differently. To wonder if maybe, if I'd been braver, things could have worked out. Naruto thought of Sasuke. Of the bridge in the rain. Of all the words he hadn't said. I know that running away doesn't fix anything. It just makes the running the new normal. Sly looked at him. Really looked. Like he was seeing something new. When did you get so wise, kid? I read a lot of ramen cups. The fortunes. A small smile. Also, I've almost died like 40 times. That teaches you stuff. A laugh. Small, surprised, but real. 40 times? At least. I stopped counting after 30. Sly shook his head. Okay. Fine. We'll talk to Carmelita. But someone else is doing the talking. I'll just be nearby. In case things go sideways. That's probably smart. It's definitely smart. EXT, coffee shop next morning. The shop was small, crowded, smelled like burnt beans and pastries. Normal people did normal things, reading newspapers and staring at phones, completely unaware that a hippo in a terrible disguise was sitting in the corner. The disguise this time was sunglasses and a trench coat. It was not an improvement. She's not coming, Murray muttered. She's gonna blow us off and then arrest us and then we'll be in jail and the robots will get Naruto and it'll be all my fault for suggesting coffee instead of donuts. Donuts were your first suggestion, Bentley reminded him through the earpiece. He was in the van down the street, monitoring. I said coffee because it's neutral ground. Donuts are neutral. Everyone loves donuts. Naruto sat at a table near the window, trying to look casual. He'd borrowed clothes from Sly, a dark jacket over a plain shirt, and his blonde hair was mostly hidden under a cap. He looked like any other kid killing time. The bell above the door chimed. Carmelita walked in. She wasn't in uniform. Jeans, leather jacket, hair down. She looked tired. Looked like she hadn't slept either. Her eyes swept the room, professional, automatic. Landed on Murray. Landed on Naruto. Narrowed. She walked over. Sat down across from Naruto without asking. You've got 30 seconds before I call this in. Thanks for coming. Naruto kept his voice low. I know you didn't have to. I know. I'm asking myself why I did. She signaled the waiter for coffee. Black. Talk. We need your help. With what? Hiding from the police? Because that ship sailed. With the index. Carmelita went very still. The waiter brought her coffee. She didn't touch it. What do you know about the index? Not enough. That's why we're here. Robots attacked us last night. Robots with their logo on them. They were after me. Naruto met her eyes. I need to know why. Carmelita stared at him for a long moment. Then she laughed. Not a happy laugh. Kid, I've been chasing the index for 3 years. 3 years of dead ends and burnt files and people disappearing. And you want me to just share? With Cooper's gang? With Cooper himself, who I'm assuming is within earshot right now. From somewhere behind a newspaper, Sly's voice murmured. Morning, Mita. She didn't react. Didn't even look. But her jaw tightened. I should arrest you all. You could try. Sly lowered the paper just enough to show his grin. But then you'd have to explain to your superiors why you were meeting with us instead of bringing backup. And they might ask uncomfortable questions about how often we've had coffee together over the years. We've never had coffee together. We've had other things. Carmelita's hand twitched toward where her blaster usually was. Empty holster today. She'd come unarmed. That meant something. You're scared of them, Naruto said quietly. The index. You're scared, and you're tired, and you've been doing this alone because you don't trust anyone else to help. I know that feeling. I lived it for 12 years. She looked at him. Really looked. You're not from here, she said slowly. I ran your face through every database on the planet. Nothing. No records, no birth certificate, no school photos, no nothing. You just appeared. Something like that. And now killer robots are after you. Yeah. She picked up her coffee. Took a long sip. Put it down. 3 years ago, Interpol started noticing patterns. Thefts that weren't thefts. Murders that weren't murders. People vanishing from locked rooms, security footage wiped, no traces left behind. At first we thought it was organized crime. Then we found the logo. She pulled out her phone, scrolled to a photo. A symbol. A stylized letter I wrapped in chains. The Index. No one knows who runs it. No one knows where they're based. But they're everywhere. Banks, governments, criminal organizations, they've got fingers in all of them. And they're always looking for assets. Assets? People with unusual abilities. People who don't fit normal categories. They collect them. Study them. Use them. Her eyes bored into his. If they're after you, it's because you're special. And special doesn't last long with the Index. Naruto felt cold again. What do they do with the people they take? A pause. Carmelita's expression flickered, pain maybe, or guilt. We don't know. We've never found one. Not alive. Not dead. They just disappear. Murray shifted in his seat. That's not okay. No. It's not. Carmelita finished her coffee. So now you know what I know. Which isn't much. Which is the problem? Bentley's voice crackled in their earpieces. Actually, Inspector, I might have a solution. If you're willing to share your case files, I can cross-reference them with my own data. 2 incomplete pictures might make one complete one. Carmelita's eyes flicked to Murray's collar, where the earpiece was visible. Turtle's listening. Always. She thought about it. Long enough that the waiter came by to refill her cup and she waved him off. If I do this, if I share, it's not a partnership. It's a temporary truce. The moment this is over, I go back to hunting you. Sly lowered the paper fully. Wouldn't expect anything less. And the kid stays with me. Protective custody. Safest place for him. No. Everyone looked at Naruto. No, he repeated. I'm not hiding while other people fight my battles. That's not how I work. These robots are after me, so I'm going to be there when we face them. End of discussion. Carmelita opened her mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. You're 16. Almost 17. That doesn't. With respect, Inspector, I've fought bigger threats than this. Lost more people than this. I'm not going to sit on the sidelines because it's safer. His voice was calm. Firm. The voice of someone who'd made this decision before. I'll work with you. I'll listen to your plans. But I'm not a civilian. I'm not a victim. I'm a ninja. And ninja fight. Carmelita stared at him. Then, slowly, she shook her head. Cooper, where did you find this kid? Sly grinned. He found us. Literally fell out of a hole in the sky. Of course he did. She stood, pulled out a card, different from the last one, and slid it across the table. Encrypted frequency. Call me when you've got something solid. And Cooper? Yeah? If you screw me on this, I will personally make sure you spend the rest of your life in a cell so small you can't swing that cane. Wouldn't expect anything less. She walked out. Didn't look back. Murray let out a breath. I like her. She's scary. That's the point. Sly stood, stretching. All right, team. We've got a lead. Let's follow it. Int. Warehouse evening. Bentley had merged the files within an hour. 2 hours later, he'd found something. Look at this. He pointed at his screen. 3 separate incidents. Same pattern, unexplained energy spike, followed by a theft of some kind, followed by a person vanishing. The spikes match Naruto's signature. Not exactly, but close. Like echoes. Echoes of what? Naruto asked. Of you? Of your arrival. The Index has been tracking dimensional disturbances. They've got sensors set up all over the city. They knew the moment you appeared. Sly leaned in. So they're not just after Naruto. They're after whatever brought him here. Exactly. The artifact. The vault. All of it. Bentley pulled up a map. And look at this. The incidents cluster around one location. An old factory on the edge of town. Shell Company owns it. Shell Company that traces back to, wait. Wait, what? Bentley's face went pale. It traces back to a bank in Zurich. That bank traces back to a holding company in the Caymans. That company traces back to. He stopped. Stared. To who? To the Cooper Vault. The same trust that manages the vault's security. Bentley looked up. The index isn't just after the artifact. They're connected to it. Somehow. They've been involved with the vault for years. Sly went very still. That's not possible. The vault's been in my family for generations. No outsiders. Outsiders don't need permission, Sly. They just need access. And if the index has been infiltrating slowly, quietly for decades. Bentley trailed off. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Naruto stepped forward. Then we hit them first. We hit the factory, find out what they know, and take the fight to them. Sly looked at him. Saw the fire in those blue eyes. The same fire that had gotten him through 40 near-death experiences. You know, Sly said slowly. For a kid who fell out of a hole in the sky, you adapt fast. Learn from the best. Naruto grinned. Also, I'm really stubborn. That helps. Murray pumped a fist. We're doing this! Team Naruto and the Cooper gang strike back! No matching outfits, Bentley said automatically. Yes, matching outfits. Sly looked at Naruto. Naruto looked at Sly. And for the first time since the robots attacked, they both laughed. It felt good. Felt right. But somewhere across the city, in the factory on the edge of town, screens flickered and voices murmured and plans moved forward. The index knew they were coming. They were counting on it. Fade out. End Chapter 4. This response is AI generated, for reference only. Next. Chapter 5, The Factory. Fade in. EXT, Abandoned Factory Night. The factory looked dead. That was the first thing Naruto noticed. Not abandoned, he'd seen abandoned buildings before, plenty of them. This was different. This was the kind of dead that came from something being drained. Sucked dry. The windows were dark, the walls were stained, and the whole place had a feel to it that made his skin crawl. Beside him, pressed flat against a crumbling wall, Sly was doing that thing where he went completely still. Like a lizard waiting for a fly. Bentley. Sly murmured into his earpiece. Tell me something good. I'm reading power signatures. Faint, but consistent. The place isn't as dead as it looks. Bentley's voice crackled. There's a sub-basement. Fully shielded. Whatever they're hiding, it's down there. Murray was on the other side of the building, watching the rear entrance. Carmelita was with him, insisted on coming, and Sly had been in no position to argue. Naruto had watched them not look at each other for the whole drive over. It was honestly exhausting. What about guards? Naruto asked. That's the weird part. No heat signatures above ground. No motion sensors. Nothing. Bentley paused. It's too quiet. Sly nodded slowly. They know we're coming. Probably. And they're okay with that. Also probably. Naruto looked at the factory again. The windows stared back like empty eyes. Somewhere down there, in the dark, something was waiting. Good, he said. Sly glanced at him. Good? I'm tired of running. Naruto cracked his knuckles. Let's go meet them. Int. Factory ground floor. The inside was worse than the outside. Machinery loomed in the darkness, old presses and conveyor belts, all coated in rust and silence. Dust hung in the air thick enough to taste. Naruto moved through it carefully, trying to remember everything Sly had taught him about foot placement and weight distribution. He was still too loud. Still too heavy. But better than before. Sly was a ghost beside him. Not a sound. Not a whisper. They reached a door at the far end of the main floor. Steel. New. The only thing in the whole place that wasn't covered in rust. This is it. Sly breathed. Sub-basement access. Feels wrong. Feels like a trap. They looked at each other. Murray. Sly whispered. Status? All quiet back here. Too quiet. I don't like it. Murray's voice was tense. Carmelita says the same. She's got her blaster out and everything. Carmelita has a blaster? Of course Carmelita has a blaster. She's Carmelita. Sly shook his head. Okay. We're going in. If you don't hear from us in 10 minutes. 10 minutes exactly. Then Murray smash. Murray smash. Sly agreed. Come on, kid. The door wasn't locked. That was the first red flag. The stairs went down further than they should have. That was the second. The room at the bottom was the third, fourth, and fifth. It was huge. Bigger than the factory above could possibly contain, some kind of spatial trick that made Naruto's head hurt just looking at it. Walls lined with screens. Screens showing data. Screens showing faces. Screens showing him. His face. His name. His village. His teammates. His past. Sly. Naruto's voice came out strangled. I see it. A figure stood in the center of the room. Human-shaped. Female. Dark hair, dark clothes, pale skin. She was looking at a screen showing Naruto's fight with pain. The moment he'd returned. The moment he'd saved the village. Fascinating, she said, not turning around. The chakra output alone should have killed you. And yet here you are. In my world. In my facility. She turned. Smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. Hello, Naruto Uzumaki. I've been waiting. Slice Cane was up, ready. Who are you? Me? I'm nobody. A face. A name you won't remember. She waved a hand. But my employers, they're very interested in your friend. In his energy. In his world. In the possibilities. Naruto stepped forward. What do you want? Want? Oh, nothing complicated. Just you. A sample. A few tests. A little exploration. Her smile widened. You see, we've been watching dimensional breaches for years. Tracking them. Cataloging them. But we've never had a live subject before. Never had someone who came through intact. She tilted her head. You're a first, Naruto. That's special. I'm not a subject. Aren't you? She gestured at the screens. Back home, you're a weapon. A container. A thing to be feared and used. Here, you're just a curiosity. But curiosity can be valuable. Sly moved. Fast. His cane whipped toward her, and passed through empty air. She was gone. Standing 10 feet away now, still smiling. Please. Did you think I was real? Did you think I'd be stupid enough to stand in the same room as the Cooper gang without precautions? She laughed. Soft. Cold. I'm everywhere and nowhere. A voice. A screen. A dream. The screens flickered. The data changed. Maps appeared. Blueprints. The Cooper vault. Speaking of which, let's talk about what you came for. The artifact. The key to sending our friend home. She pointed at a screen showing the orb. You want it. We want it. But here's the thing, we want it more. And we're better at getting what we want. The room shuddered. From above, a crash. Murray's voice over the earpiece. Robots! So many robots! Then another crash. Carmelita's blaster firing. Then silence. Murray! Sly shouted. Murray, respond! Nothing. Your friends are being contained, the woman said. Don't worry. They won't be harmed. Unless you make us harm them. Which brings me to my offer. She stepped forward. Or her image did. Hard to tell. Cooper. You want the vault. You want the treasure. You want your legacy. We can give you that. All of it. In exchange for the boy. Sly's grip on his cane tightened. No. Think carefully. Your friends are upstairs, surrounded. Your enemy is everywhere. And the boy. She looked at Naruto. The boy isn't even from here. He's not your responsibility. He's not your problem. Give him to us, and you get everything you ever wanted. Naruto held his breath. Sly looked at him. Just for a second. But in that second, Naruto saw something he didn't expect. He's actually considering it. Kurama's voice was quiet. Neutral. Not gloating. Just observing. He's a thief, boy. Thieves survive. That's what they do. Naruto understood. He did. Sly had Murray and Bentley to protect. Had a legacy to reclaim. Had a lifetime of running and stealing and surviving. Giving up one kid he'd known for a few days? That was nothing. That was smart. He waited for the betrayal. Sly turned back to the woman. Here's the thing, he said slowly. You did your research. You know about the vault. You know about my family. You know about the Cooper legacy. He took a step forward. But you missed something. What's that? The Coopers don't trade people. We don't sell out. We don't walk away. His voice hardened. We steal. He moved. Not at the woman, at a console near the wall. His cane sliced through cables, sparks flying. The screens flickered. The woman's image distorted. You think this is my first time in a villain's lair? You think I haven't dealt with projections and threats before? Sly kept moving, destroying equipment, creating chaos. Bentley! You still there? A crackle. Then Bentley's voice, weak but there. I'm here. They jammed my signal. I'm working on. Do it. Whatever you've got. Do it now. The woman's face contorted. You're making a mistake. Probably. Make a lot of those. Sly glanced at Naruto. Kid, you still with me? Naruto stared at him. You weren't going to. I gave you my word, remember? Coopers keep their word. A grin. Now stop looking at me like that and help me break stuff. Naruto laughed. Actually laughed, right there in the middle of the enemy base. Then he started breaking things. Chakra flared. Consoles exploded. Screens shattered. The woman's image flickered and screamed and finally vanished, leaving only the echo of her fury. You'll regret this. Yeah? Sly kicked over a monitor. Get in line. The room went dark. Emergency lights flickered on, dim and red. From upstairs, more crashes. Murray's voice, distant but audible. Thunder flip! And then Bentley over the earpiece. I've got control of their systems. Barely. But I can't hold it long. You need to move. Now. Sly grabbed Naruto's arm. Upstairs. Murray and Carmelita need us. What about the artifact? The vault? Later. Friends first. That's the rule. They ran. Int. Factory ground floor. Chaos. Robots everywhere. Dozens of them, maybe more, swarming through the darkness with those glowing red eyes. Murray was in the middle of them, throwing punches, doing flips, actual flips, and generally being a one-hippo wrecking crew. Carmelita was behind him, picking off robots with precise blaster shots, covering his blind spots. They moved like they'd been fighting together for years. Murray! Sly shouted. Sly! Murray's face lit up. You're alive! I didn't break anything important yet. Keep it that way. Naruto didn't wait for instructions. He dove into the fight, chakra flaring, fists connecting with metal. One robot went down. Another. A third grabbed his arm and he spun, using its own momentum to throw it into two more. But there were so many. For every one he destroyed, 3 more appeared. Boy. Kurama's voice. Urgent. Let me help. Just a little. Just enough. Naruto hesitated. Every time he'd let Kurama out, things got complicated. Dangerous. People got hurt. These aren't people. They're machines. And your friends are going to die if you don't. He looked at Murray, bleeding from a cut on his forehead. At Carmelita, running low on blaster charges. At Sly, dodging and weaving but getting slower. I can't control you. You won't have to. Just open the door a crack. I'll do the rest. Naruto closed his eyes. Breathed. Open the door. The chakra that erupted from him was different this time. Not just orange, red. Deep, burning red. His skin shimmered. His eyes changed. Not fully fox, not yet, but something close. Something powerful. The robots paused. Their red eyes flickered. Then Naruto moved. He was faster. Stronger. Every hit destroyed, every touch shattered. He moved through the swarm like a blade through paper, leaving only sparking wreckage behind. The robots tried to retreat. Tried to regroup. It didn't matter. Within minutes, the floor was covered in broken metal. Silence. Naruto stood in the center, breathing hard, the red chakra slowly fading. His eyes returned to normal. His skin stopped shimmering. He felt okay. Tired but okay. Kurama hadn't taken over. Hadn't tried. Told you, the fox muttered. Just a crack. Thanks. Don't thank me yet. We're not out of this. Murray approached slowly, eyes wide. Naruto? That was amazing. And kind of scary. But mostly amazing. Mostly amazing. Naruto agreed weakly. Then his legs gave out. Sly caught him before he hit the ground. Easy, kid. Easy. You're okay. Robots? Gone. You got them all. Sly looked at the wreckage. All of them. Carmelita walked over, holstering her blaster. She looked at Naruto with new eyes. Different eyes. That power, she said quietly. That's what they want. Naruto nodded, too tired to speak. We need to move. Bentley's voice, urgent again. I've lost control of their systems. They're rebooting. And I'm picking up reinforcements. Lots of them. Sly pulled Naruto to his feet. Can you walk? I can try. Good enough. Murray, grab anything useful. Carmelita, cover us. We're leaving. They ran. Behind them, the factory hummed with dying power and broken machines. And somewhere in the darkness, a woman watched them go on a flickering screen. Next time, she murmured. Next time. EXT, alley later. They stopped in a narrow alley 3 blocks from the factory. Murray was carrying Naruto now. The kid's legs had given out completely, but he was awake. Alert. Carmelita leaned against the wall, catching her breath. Sly stood nearby, watching the street. Bentley, he murmured. Status? Clear for now. But they'll be looking. You need to go to ground. Somewhere they don't know about. The warehouse? Compromised. They found it once, they'll find it again. Sly thought for a moment, then looked at Carmelita. You know a place? She stared at him. You're asking me for a safe house. I'm asking you for help. Different thing. A long pause. Then she sighed. Yeah. I know a place. Int. Carmelita's apartment night. It was small. Clean. Personal in ways that made Sly uncomfortable. Photos on the walls, books on the shelves, a life laid out for anyone to see. Naruto lay on the couch, wrapped in a blanket, sleeping hard. Murray sat in a chair by the window, keeping watch. Bentley was on the floor with his laptop, running diagnostics. Sly stood by the kitchen counter, not looking at anything in particular. Carmelita made coffee. Handed him a cup. You did good tonight, she said quietly. Don't sound so surprised. I'm not surprised. She trailed off. Shook her head. The kid. He's important to you. Something like that. He's not even from here. Doesn't matter. She looked at him. Really looked. The way she used to, before everything got complicated. You've changed, Cooper. Have I? You would have traded him. Old you. You would have made the deal and figured out how to double-cross them later. She took a sip of coffee. You didn't even hesitate. Sly thought about it. About the moment in the factory, when the woman made her offer. About the split second where he'd felt the weight of it, everything he'd ever wanted, handed to him, if he just said yes. And then he'd looked at Naruto. At that stupid, stubborn, earnest kid who'd fallen out of a hole in the sky and somehow become part of the team. No, he said quietly. I didn't. Carmelita nodded slowly. I think maybe I've been wrong about you. About some things. Don't get soft on me, Inspector. Don't push your luck, thief. But she was almost smiling. And somewhere in the city, in a factory slowly coming back to life, a woman picked up a phone and made a call. The boy is stronger than we anticipated. Cooper's gang is protecting him. We need a new approach. A voice on the other end. Cold. Calm. Then we stop playing games. Activate Protocol 9. If we can't have the boy, no one can. The woman smiled. Yes. Exactly. Fade out. End chapter 5. Next. Chapter 6, Protocol 9. Fade in. Int. Carmelita's apartment morning. Naruto woke to the smell of eggs. Not ramen. Eggs. Real eggs cooking in a pan, with butter and everything. His stomach made a noise that probably registered on Bentley's equipment. You alive over there? Murray's voice cheerful. Too cheerful for someone who'd been fighting robots half the night. Naruto sat up slowly. His whole body ached. His chakra felt thin, stretched, like a rubber band that had been pulled too far. But he was alive. That counted for something. Alive? He croaked. Hungry? Good. Carmelita makes excellent eggs. It's one of her many talents. Murray handed him a plate piled high with scrambled eggs and toast. Eat. You need strength. Naruto ate. It was good. Really good. Carmelita stood by the stove, still in yesterday's clothes, hair pulled back messily. She looked tired but alert. Professional. Sly sat at her small kitchen table, nursing coffee and staring at nothing. Bentley was on the floor, surrounded by equipment, typing furiously. No one was talking. That bothered Naruto more than the silence itself. In his experience, when people stopped talking, it meant something bad was coming. He finished his eggs. Set the plate aside. What's wrong? Everyone looked at him. What's wrong? He repeated. You're all being quiet. That's never good. Bentley pushed his glasses up. I've been monitoring index communications since last night. Picked up fragments. Encrypted, but I managed to decode some of it. He paused. They're activating something called Protocol 9. Sly straightened. What's Protocol 9? I don't know exactly. But the chatter mentions containment, neutralization, and the boy specifically. Bentley's voice was grim. They're done trying to capture him, Sly. They're going to kill him. Silence. Naruto felt it settle over the room like a weight. Kill him. Not capture, not study. Kill. Told you, Kurama muttered. They're scared now. Scared is dangerous. What's the timeline? Sly asked. Unknown. Could be hours. Could be minutes. They're mobilizing resources across the city. Carmelita set down her spatula. I can call Interpol. Request backup. Won't help. Bentley shook his head. The index has people everywhere. Anyone you call could be compromised. And even if they're not, do you really want to explain that we're hunting a shadow organization trying to assassinate a kid from another dimension? She has a point about backup, though. Sly stood, started pacing. Small apartment, not much room, but he made it work. We're 4 people and a turtle against an army. We need help. What kind of help? Murray asked. Sly stopped pacing. Looked at Carmelita. The kind that knows the city. The kind that owes me favors. The kind that isn't afraid to get their hands dirty. Carmelita's eyes narrowed. No. You don't even know what I'm going to say. I know that look. That's your let's recruit criminals look. I've seen it before. I've arrested people because of that look. Those people were already criminals. I just pointed you in the right direction. You. She stopped. Took a breath. Who? Sly smiled. The guru. Penelope. Dimitri. The old crew. Bentley's typing slowed. Sly, they're not all reliable. Dimitri sold us out once. Twice if you count that thing in Prague. People change. And desperate times. Sly looked at Naruto. Kids running out of time. We need bodies. Warm bodies with skills. The guru can track energy signatures. Penelope can build anything. Dimitri can get us places we shouldn't be. Murray nodded slowly. I like Dimitri. His music is terrible, but he's fun at parties. He's never been to a party with you. He came to my birthday party that one time. That was a prison riot. Same thing, really. Naruto listened to them bicker, and for a moment the weight lifted. This was normal. This was team. Different faces, different world, but the same messy, complicated, loyal chaos. I don't want anyone getting hurt because of me, he said quietly. Everyone stopped. Sly walked over, crouched in front of him. Kid, look at me. Naruto looked. This is not your fault. You didn't ask to fall into our world. You didn't ask to be hunted. But you're here, and you're part of this team now. And teams protect each other. That's the deal. He held Naruto's gaze. You got that? Naruto nodded. Got it. Good. Now eat your toast. We've got people to find. EXT, City Various Locations Day. Finding the old crew took most of the morning. The guru was easiest. He ran a small meditation center in the arts district, teaching yoga to wealthy clients who had no idea their instructor could track energy signatures across the city. He agreed immediately, said he'd felt the disturbance when Naruto arrived, had been waiting for someone to ask. Penelope was harder. She'd retired from crime after some kind of falling out with Bentley. Naruto didn't get the details, but the tension between them was thick enough to cut. She lived in a workshop outside the city, surrounded by half-built machines and blueprints. She listened to their story in silence, looked at Naruto for a long moment, then nodded once. Dimitri was hardest of all. They found him in a club downtown, DJing for a crowd of drunk college students. He changed his look, sleeker now, more professional, but his smile was the same slimy grin Sly remembered. He took one look at Carmelita, one look at Sly, and laughed. Cooper, Cooper, Cooper! You bring a cop to my place of business? You trying to get me arrested? Trying to save a kid's life. Cops on our side. Temporarily. Dimitri looked at Naruto. Raised an eyebrow. This the kid? The one from the other world? News traveled fast in the criminal underworld. Yeah. Dimitri thought about it. Scratched his chin. What's in it for me? Surviving. Because if the Index wins here, they'll come for everyone eventually. You think they'll stop with one kid? They'll want more. More energy, more power, more control. You'll be on their list eventually. Dimitri's smile faded. He looked at Naruto again. Longer this time. Fine. But I'm not fighting. I'm driving. I drive good. You drive okay. I drive great. That one time in Monaco. Let's not talk about Monaco. They piled into Dimitri's van, somehow bigger on the inside than outside, covered in stickers and smelling faintly of incense, and headed back to Carmelita's. Carmelita's apartment afternoon. 11 people in a one-bedroom apartment was too many. Naruto sat on the floor in the corner, watching them work. The guru sat cross-legged nearby, eyes closed, occasionally murmuring about energy flows. Penelope had taken over the kitchen table with Bentley, the two of them arguing about schematics and rapid technical language. Dimitri was on the balcony, smoking and watching the street. Murray was in the bedroom, doing some kind of meditation exercise that involved a lot of heavy breathing. Sly and Carmelita stood by the window, speaking too quietly for anyone else to hear. They were planning something. Big something. Naruto should have felt hopeful. Instead he felt hollow. You're thinking about running again. Kurama's voice. Not accusing. Just observing. Thinking about it. Naruto admitted silently. If I leave, they stop being targets. The Index wants me. Not them. You really believe that? I want to believe it. Then you're stupider than I thought. A pause. I've watched you, boy. Watched you for years. You draw people in. Make them care. It's annoying. But it's also real. Those people out there? They're not going to let you walk away. Not because they're noble. Because they actually give a damn. Naruto blinked. Was that almost a compliment? Don't push it. Sly walked over, sat down next to him. You okay? Fine. Just thinking. About how I got here. About how I'm gonna get back. Naruto looked at him. About how I'm gonna keep you all alive in the meantime. Sly smiled. Small. Real. That's our job, kid. Keeping each other alive. You just focus on staying alive yourself. Easier said than done? Yeah. Usually is. Bentley called out from the kitchen. Sly. I've got something. They gathered around the table. Bentley had a map up on his laptop, the whole city, with markers scattered across it. I've been tracking Index communications. They're moving assets into position. But look at this. He zoomed in on one area. All the markers converge here. The old financial district. Specifically this building. He pulled up an image. Old. Ornate. A bank, maybe, from a century ago. The Meridian building. Abandoned after the crash. But according to city records, it was bought 5 years ago by a shell company. Same shell company that owns the factory. Sly leaned in. That's their base. That's my guess. Main hub for the city. If we hit them there, we hit them hard. Carmelita shook her head. That's insane. A direct assault on a fortified position? With 11 people? 12. Murray corrected, emerging from the bedroom. I invited myself. 12. Great. Even better. Penelope spoke up. Not a direct assault. A heist. We go in quiet, hit their systems, and get out before they know we're there. Quiet? Carmelita looked at Murray. At Dimitri. At the guru. With this group? We can be quiet. Murray protested. I'm quiet. Remember that time in the museum? You brought down a wall. That was structural. Not my fault. Naruto listened to them argue, and slowly an idea formed. Not a complete idea. Just a seed. But it was something. What if we don't all go in? He said. Everyone looked at him. Split up. Draw their attention away from the main group. Make them chase shadows while the real team hits the building. He pointed at the map. Me, for example. They want me. If I'm somewhere else making noise, they'll send everything after me, leaving you clear to do whatever you need to do. Sly's expression hardened. No. It makes sense. It makes you bait. I'm not using you as bait. You're not using me. I'm volunteering. Naruto met his gaze. I've been bait before. It's kind of my specialty. Draw the enemy in, let the team hit them from behind. It works. When has it worked? A lot. Actually. More than it hasn't. Sly opened his mouth to argue, but Carmelita cut him off. He's right. Sly stared at her. Excuse me? Strategically, it's sound. The Index is obsessed with him. If he's visible, they'll focus on him. It gives us a window. She looked at Naruto. But you don't do it alone. You take Murray and Dimitri. Murray for muscle, Dimitri for escape routes. And you stay alive. That's non-negotiable. Naruto nodded. Deal. Sly looked between them. Opened his mouth. Closed it. Opened it again. I hate this plan. Noted. Carmelita turned to Bentley. Can you make it work? Bentley was already typing. Give me 10 minutes. I'll set up a diversion route. Faint signals, false trails, enough to make them think he's everywhere at once. And the main team? We hit the Meridian building at midnight. In and out before they realize we're not chasing the ghost. Sly shook his head. This is insane. This is the only play we've got. Carmelita put a hand on his arm. Brief. Quick. But there. Trust your team, Cooper. That's what you're good at. He looked at her hand. Looked at her. Yeah, he said quietly. I guess it is. EXT, Financial District Night. Naruto stood on a rooftop, looking at the Meridian building 3 blocks away. Murray was beside him, vibrating with barely contained energy. Dimitri was checking his phone, muttering about reception. So, Dimitri said. We make noise. How much noise? Enough to get their attention. Naruto cracked his knuckles. I'm thinking, a lot. He gathered chakra. Felt it flow through him, warm and ready. Kurama was quiet, watchful, but not interfering. Trusting him. He aimed at an empty lot near the Meridian building. Not at the building itself. Just near it. And let loose. The blast lit up the night. A sphere of orange energy slammed into the ground, throwing dirt and concrete everywhere. The shockwave rattled windows for blocks. For a moment, nothing. Then alarms. Red lights flashing on the Meridian building. Doors opening. Figures pouring out, robots, dozens of them, heading toward the blast site. Works. Dimitri breathed. It actually works. Phase 1. Naruto said. Now we run. They ran. Behind them, the robots followed. Behind the robots, the main team moved in. Int. Meridian building same time. Sly moved through the vents like he'd been born there. Below him, corridors stretched in every direction. Laboratories. Offices. Holding cells. This wasn't just a base, it was a research facility. A prison. He dropped down silently, landed in a maintenance corridor. Bentley's voice in his ear. Left then right. Server room is at the end. That's where their main data is stored. Copy. He moved. Fast. Quiet. The building hummed with emergency activity, robots deploying, personnel running, but no one was looking for a ghost in the walls. The server room was massive. Racks of equipment humming with data. Sly found a terminal, plugged in the device Bentley had given him. Uploading now. Give me 5 minutes. Tick-tock. He watched the screen. Data flowed. The Index's secrets, spilling into Bentley's systems. And then the lights went red. Well, well, well. The voice came from everywhere. The woman from the factory, her face appearing on every screen. Cooper. I have to admit I'm impressed. Using the boy as bait? That's cold. Even for you. He volunteered. Did he? She smiled. It doesn't matter. You're here. He's out there. And I have contingencies for both. The floor shuddered. From below a roar. Mechanical. Massive. What was that? Sly asked. That, my dear thief, is Protocol 9. Not just a plan. A weapon. Designed specifically for your friend. She tilted her head. You wanted to save him? Too late. The moment he used his power, it locked onto his signature. It's already hunting. Slice's blood went cold. Bentley! How long on that upload? 2 more minutes. We don't have 2 minutes. Then leave. I'll grab what I can remotely. Sly yanked the device free. Ran. Behind him, something big was climbing. EXT, streets same time. Naruto felt it before he saw it. A pressure. A weight. Like someone had dropped a blanket over the whole city. What's that? Murray asked, looking around. I don't know. Then the ground cracked. Not in one place, in a line. A long, straight line racing toward them, splitting asphalt and concrete like they were paper. At the end of the line, something rose. It was huge. Bigger than any robot they'd faced. A walking tank, really, with multiple legs and glowing red eyes and weapons mounted everywhere. That, Dimitri said quietly, is a lot of noise. The thing turned. Its eyes fixed on Naruto. Target acquired. Naruto, Murray said. Run. Not without. Run! Murray pushed him. Hard. Sent him stumbling down a side street. Then the hippo turned and charged the machine. Thunder flip! He hit it head on. The machine barely staggered. But it was enough. Enough to buy a few seconds. Naruto ran. Behind him, he heard Murray fighting. Heard the crash of metal on flesh. Heard Dimitri yelling something about the van. And then he heard a voice in his ear. Sly's voice. Desperate. Naruto! Get clear! That thing is. I know what it is. Then run. We'll find you. I'm not leaving Murray. A pause. Then Sly's voice, quiet. Then don't. We're coming to you. Naruto stopped running. Turned around. The machine was advancing, Murray's limp form in one of its claws. Dimitri's van was wrecked against a wall. And in the distance, sirens. Police. Carmelita's people, probably, responding to the chaos. He was alone. Not alone. Kurama's voice. Stronger now. Open the door, boy. All the way. Let me help. Naruto thought about it. About the risk. About losing control. Then he thought about Murray. About Sly. About everyone who'd risked everything for a kid from another world. If I lose control. You won't. Not this time. We're past that. Naruto closed his eyes. Breathed. Opened the door. The chakra that erupted from him was red. Deep red. Burning red. It wrapped around him like a cloak, like a second skin. His eyes changed, slit pupils fox-like. His teeth sharpened. His voice, when he spoke, was 2 voices layered together. Let him go. The machine paused. Its red eyes flickered. Anomaly detected. Threat level, maximum. It dropped Murray. Turned fully toward Naruto. They faced each other in the ruined street. Machine and boy. Hunter and hunted. Then Naruto moved.